Good morning. You also can. Is that possible? I don't know.
I'm not close. I'm not sure.
Sewing Club 2021-22. Really appreciate everyone joining this morning. And of course, we'd like to welcome Gudrun Erla from out in Minnesota. There she is. And she's been so busy with rolling out some great new items, which I'm not going to steal her thunder. We're very fortunate to have her join us for Sewing Club in October, because I know typically there's quilt market, which there's not quilt market this year, but she was stretching to begin with, and I know she's getting pulled in all sorts of directions.
Yes, happy to be here.
Yeah, so we're really happy to have her, and I know a lot of our customer base in general. You know, Gudrun's been out. We were just talking about it. Last time she visited was about roughly May 2017, plus or minus a month.
Yeah.
And we had plans to have Gudrun in, I don't know, maybe a year or two ago. It was right in the middle of COVID, and obviously, you know, that didn't work out for us. So again, we're really happy to have Gudrun join us this morning. So thank you.
Thanks for having me. Excited.
Jump in. Okay, so why don't we jump into our little PowerPoint this morning, and then we'll get on to Sew and Share, and then we'll get off the air and put it over to Gudrun so you can enjoy her program this morning. So just bear with us. We're working through our all these great Zoom things. You might see our heads at the bottom. We kind of look ghostly this morning. It has nothing to do with Halloween. I think it's just having fun with the technology. All right.
Come on. There we go.
There we go.
We don't like you.
Sorry.
Okay, so just to start off, this week, I guess, late last week, we you might be able to see that. No, you can't from my screen, but we forgot to introduce Leanne DeShade. She's over to the left, behind, not part of the camera, but Leanne is our new marketing coordinator. She joined us roughly a month ago and really had to jump in and figure out all sorts of things because Scott and Alyssa screwed up marketing for the past roughly 6 months.
I was just going to say that.
And we're very happy that she joined us. She's been drinking from a fire hose, learning and just plowing through all sorts of great things and helping communicate, you know, everything that our team is trying to do to all of you. So we're really happy to have her. And for example, here's an example of one thing that we're working towards. Sewing Times has drifted away since COVID for a variety of reasons. And we're migrating to get that back up and running with an alternative format. So as you can see here, this is what we have going on. Right now, we just have October's published. It is on our website. Under classes and events, you'll find this. You can download it. You can print it off yourself. We do have a few copies here in the store. So if you pop in this week, you'll see it available to grab and run with. But it just shows all the classes and virtual in-person classes, virtual classes, the Facebook Live sales that we're running, any events, you know, that we're doing in person or Zoom. So there you go. Wanted to share that. And a little different format. You can always look on our website. We're still going to maintain that calendar, but this is a little bit different and easier maybe to navigate quickly with your eye and see if there's something out there that you're interested in. All right. And so wanted to share that with you. All right, next week, Wednesday the 13th, same time, same place, Embroidery Club with Sheila. Mm-hmm. And Alyssa, you know about these wonky houses, right?
This is Fabric Confetti, Wonky Houses. Sheila's been working really hard on all of her samples. Really fun. There's 5 different seasons. There's 4 seasons, and then there's an extra one, the Halloween. So great program. Sheila's got it all lined up. She has all the samples done. I've seen many, many pictures sent to me all the 4 weeks. So If you've never joined Sheila for embroidery, she's got a lot of knowledge, a lot of tips and tricks, and
Sheila's all about houses.
Yeah, she is all about houses, and so this is right up her alley. So
you know she'll have fun with this one.
Absolutely.
All right. And then the following Wednesday, we have Carol doing Serger Club. Same time, same place. This is Jelly Roll Quilts. So Carol has taken the jelly rolls, or strip pops, or whatever we want to call them.
2.5-inch strips.
2.5-inch strips. And turned them into quilts in a variety of different ways on the Serger. So, you can see a few examples there. She's going to talk through it, show and demonstrate techniques, and just maximize the use of your Serger.
Correct. The other pictures are showing just other quilts and patterns that she has created to use on the Serger to make quilts. So focus is the jelly roll, but then she's going to show you how you can just blossom from there and create more than just using jelly rolls, which is great.
And then next month, Sewing Club, just to kind of tee it off for y'all, we have Joanne Sharp.
Correct. So Joanne Sharp is going to be joining us at the store, which we have the special in-store session from 10 to 1. How that is going to work, Scott and I will be calling the VIP customers, the people that signed up for all 3 of the clubs, and giving them the option if they'd like to attend in the morning from 10 to 1 at the East Aurora store. We will be calling you, so please understand, we're going to start with VIP. We only have 50 seats. Once we get those, see how many people are wanting to come in, then we'll go to the sewing club that signed up for the year. So we will be working off of a list. So please wait for our phone call and we'll let you know. Then afterwards, when we're all done with the session in person, we will then go and do a virtual program for the rest of you from 2 to 5. And it will be just like this, just not at 10 to 1, from 2 to 5. So I hope that everyone understands that scenario. We only have 50 seats, so it's limited space. So that's why we have to do it that way. Then the next day, Joanne is staying with us, and she is going to do an in-person class at the East Aurora store Thursday, November 4th from 10 to 4, and do hands-on art and free motion. So that is a hands-on class, limited space, and that is $89.99.
Everyone will have access to the virtual.
Yeah.
So, every club member, sewing club member, will have access to the virtual. Absolutely. Okay.
So then today at 3 o'clock, I'm going to have a virtual fabrics live sale on Facebook. So 3 o'clock, as long as you belong to the Aurora Sewing Center Facebook page, you'll see my mug again at 3. And we'll be talking about a bunch of specials. So there's fabric, there's patterns. I don't even know because I haven't even looked at it.
I see some pre-cuts over there.
So again, if you're looking for a deal and, or you want some specials and you want to see what we have, join us at 3 o'clock. It'll just say Aurora Sewing Center went live. Just join us and we will be on there. And that is a great way for you to save money if you're looking for a sale.
All right, and then we got a few other things in the store with some other specials in the month of October. Bernina's Foot of the Month is the jeans foot. So perfect for making those outdoor projects like, I don't know, I'm going to say lawn furniture because you got thicker fabrics, maybe canvas, your boat cover, heavier bags, and of course, fixing your jeans. So, and that's the 8 and the 8D. Perfect. We also have a lot of customers with Auroras, the 430s, the 442Es, the 450s. So if it's a great opportunity to upgrade to the new Bernina 770 QE Plus, right now through the end of the year, you also have the option to go to the 570. So a lot of opportunities there if you're looking to advance your machine. Those 440s are getting, they got some miles on them. And the technology is so different. You can see just clearly from this picture the size of the interface screen and the ease of using those multifunction knobs, a bit easier. And of course, if you're going up to the 770, the throat space too is much larger. So anyhow, technology has changed. Might be time to move along to the next machine, and you are going to save some good cash, up to $2,000. And then Bernina does this once a year, and it is October 16th, Super Saturday, which is
Sweetest Day, which is another Hallmark holiday.
all right. So 0% for 72 months. Bernina's letting you use their money to buy their products, and it is, perfect opportunity to maybe take your dollars and stretch them into something you really, really want.
Buy your sweetheart a sewing machine. What are you talking about?
And you go from, typical 18, 24 months, 0%, and you go all the way to 72. I mean, your monthly note is going to be a heck of a lot smaller and builds in that comfort, ability to navigate, the world as we know it, because things happen.
Yep.
So, but it's also a great opportunity to step into, say, a Q Series long arm if that's something you've been eyeing up as well. That's specific to Bernina machines for 72 months. One day only. That's Saturday, October 16th. So if you're thinking about it, I would highly encourage you to start having conversations now, so your credit's approved and everything's lined out, and all we got to do is press go on Saturday the 16th. Stop in, give us a call. Let's look at those machines now, so you know what you want, because you can't show up Saturday morning
and think about it.
Walk away. I'm not sure. Because come Saturday at midnight, the game's over. Okay? All right, and just for example, there's going to be a lot of great specials that start now that go for a period of time with all the manufacturers, but specifically Bernina and Baby Lock. They've already rolled out some of their marketing. Here are two: the new Q16 Plus on a long arm studio frame. So it's a long arm on a studio frame. You get a bunch of extras, and then the Q20 on the koala cabinet. You get a bunch of extras. There's also the Q24 with a bunch of extras. Here's a piece of furniture demo sale that we have at our East Aurora store. We have two in teak. So this is teak specific, perfect for a lot of machines, but the Bernina 5 Series, 7 Series, you can see the jazz on this as well. It has the hole ready to go on a slimline 3 lamp. Normally they're $2,500. We have two for $1,000. First two people get to walk away with a nice sturdy wall of cabinet with some flexibility with storage for the goodies to hide them and stitch away. As I mentioned earlier, Baby Lock has a lot of different bundles, some new machines out. I didn't want to not speak of the Solaris 2. There is great packages with the Solaris. There's some great packages with this Chorus, which is the new machine that replaces the Crescendo. There's also other packages for the new machine that replaces the Aventura 2, the Flourish, which is the Flare. The Aventura 2 is now called the Vesta. They've advanced some parts of the technology and put together some bundles there. So something you might want to check out. And as a result of these new machines, well, the models that they've been replaced with, Aria being one of them, well, we have some demos on sale and a lot of great savings. Aria, you're going to save $1,500. Great machine, sewing, quilting. This is strictly a sewing machine. You get 13 feet. You got the Never Miss Auto threader. Digital dual feed comes
especially
with
if
it.
you're a quilter. That's a great.
And a big throat space. So perfect machine to add to your collection or upgrade to. Okay, enough of that. We're gonna get into Sew and Share.
So I'm going to explain something because this is the first year we've done this.
Yeah.
We have sew and share virtually, but then we have customers that brought stuff in. So we're going to first go over the virtual, and then we're going to get off this PowerPoint and show in person, which is really exciting because I get to actually look at product in front of us and really get to see the detail.
It's starting to
it feels
pull back.
Kind of normal.
Yeah, some normality here. Now, virtual. I gotta ask. Please
lost
use
hair last night.
please use this hashtag. It's in the brochure, the club brochure. I spent countless hours trying to pull together the following submittals for Sew and Share. If you don't use this hashtag, I can't promise you anything going forward. You can use this hashtag and 10 others, but this one has to be the primary one. Otherwise, your submittals getting lost in the shuffle. That coupled with Facebook going down, it's a long day. So, thank you for using only the primary hashtag right here, Aurora Sewing Center Club. And it doesn't matter which club. Just pop it in there, and then we can track it easily, grab it, and move on.
In the search engine, we get to write that in, and then everything comes up.
Yeah.
It just keeps it a lot
organized and no hunting and pecking. Okay, so.
All right, I'm going to get going. All right, so Sew and Share virtually is Beth Griffiths. She made Sewing Club, the sample is a bunch of pillowcases, which is great. She's using up her stash, which I know you ladies might have a little bit of that at home. She made a bunch of pillowcases, and she's giving away as gifts, which is...
You see the camel one?
Oh, some little man is going to be happy about that. He'll be hidden in bed. All right, Donna Stiles. Well, I think she did this on purpose. Gudrun's Confetti Betty Runner for Season 3 Fast and Furious. Really cute. Love the fabrics. Great design. I could even sew that. That's a great little pattern. Good job, Donna. All right, Ann Flanders. I was going to go to Ann's house and steal all this because I have a child that would love all this. Made a bunch of Yoda fabric, reversible placemats, masks, pillowcases, and pajama shorts. And they, I know, they're going to be hidden. And Mr. and Mrs. on them for a wedding gift for her grandson and wife. Great. And I knew that wasn't pink. It's like an off-white. I understood what you were saying in that. Photography, it always works. Rosewitz. She made the Lacy Banner Runner, which Diane did that, I think.
Yeah.
Two
clubs ago.
2 clubs ago. So great job. And my head's in the way for me to see it. But during, someone asked the question, those numbers here are moving. The numbers, you can actually, different numbers, and you can change them. So they're interchangeable. So you can add whatever number you want.
So if you get older,
you just keep adding.
What if you get younger? Does it work?
No, it doesn't work.
Oh.
So great job. Really cute. And I love the fabric choices on that.
Yeah, and I bet you she used her new 7.
I bet you she did. All right, Suzanne Shank was really busy. She made the first 3 blocks of Eileen's Mystery Build Quilt Block of the Month Club that Eileen just started last month. So I belong to their private club, and you guys are doing an amazing job, especially for your first timers. So beautiful work. And then she also made pillows and throws made from the Bill's fleece that we have here. So wonderful job.
Go Buffalo.
I was just going to say. No. Oh, Christine Dagler. Sorry.
We missed
Sorry.
She was all excited with the button. She made the Hocus Pocus pattern, but instead of making a huge quilt, she made it a wall hanger. And I love that, and the fabrics look really, really familiar. Just saying. Great job. Jan Inwards was sewing together the embroidery blocks to make a table runner for my sister-in-law. So she used the embroidery blocks, and then put it all on, sewed it all together. Really cute. Knowing Jan, she probably did a little IQ in there too.
Good job, Charlene.
Tina Field did. Diane, one of our teachers, has a class called Gifts Galore. This was last month's project. It was placemats with Halloween fabric, really cute, 2.5-inch strips. Great job. Darlene also was, getting on Gudrun's good side today. Fast and Furious Season 3 Confetti Betty, which is really cute. I really think that's, so somebody made it in Christmas and somebody made it in Halloween.
Yeah, perfect.
You guys just have to share. I don't know how that would work. Okay, Mariner's Compass. Mariner's Compass made with the AccuQuilt cutter, which I will tell you,
This
we
is
have.
the new AccuQuilt die.
Yep,
Yeah.
we have 2 of them in the store if anyone is looking at this and wanting to purchase them. Really great job, and that is wonderful for her husband's 70th
Yeah,
birthday.
happy birthday.
Wow, happy birthday. That's really great. Beautiful work. Pictures. So
Yeah.
we can really see the detail, because sometimes we don't get to see that. All right, Marcy Workman made the Autumn Day, which is a whole fabric line that's at the Williamsville store. The same, I know where it is. And made that pattern. It's a free pattern when you buy the fabric. So great job, Marcy. And then the purse, I really think is really cute because it's furry, but she made a nice tote bag, and I'm pretty sure it's a pillowcase on the table there. Mary Eunice made this quilt, and someone asked, did you hand applique? And I thought the answer is no, but on the butterfly one, but great job, Mary Eunice.
You can always see her wonderful quilt.
I know, it really stands out even in that
I just
picture.
know it, without even a super close-up.
Mm-hmm. You can see it from here. Beautiful job. Look at all those quilts. Man, you guys
Same
really.
way.
It takes me forever to make a quilt. Audrey Nadell. She had a okay, so the crossbody bag is on the bottom corner. Block of the month. She is in the second block of the month with Eileen. So she did last year's. Eileen is doing the second one for the people that took the first one. So that is her new block of the month, which is beautiful. And then she also has, I saw this, the thing on the top is in person. It's beautiful. It's actually on like organza, and she embroidered on it. And it's the detail on the thing that's hanging off the tree. I don't know what it's called. I'm very sorry. No disrespect. It is beautiful. Yeah, but it's not a quilt. It was something for someone's wedding. It's for chupa. It's beautiful. You can see it in person. Someday, please bring it in and show everybody. It's gorgeous, the detail on that. Sylvia Siegel, she did, okay, what was that one? It looks like the pattern. What did Eileen do last year for sewing?
Circles.
Linda Warren.
Yeah.
Linda Warren pattern.
Curve. Learn to curve.
Learn to curve. I can't remember now. And then so that's with the Cape, the curve. Cape Bassett fabric. And then the other, the one that I called Mackenzie Childs like 2 lives ago, and everybody loved the fabric. That line is an East Aurora. I love that pumpkin fabric, so she bought that, and really cute.
That is cool.
It is. It's,
Pumpkin's as big as my head.
it is sitting on your head actually right now. All right, now, so and share in person. Well, we have it in person. I'm excited.
And I guess we didn't. This was Gudrun's submittal. Actually not. I don't know who submitted. Who did?
Eileen.
Eileen did.
Mhm.
Okay, so Eileen submitted today Gudrun's Clarissa pattern from a while back with not the.
I already told you. What did I say?
Oh,
Allison Glass.
Allison Glass. Okay. We
He's
might have
getting
to-
there, ladies. He's getting there. Just bear with us. All right, this is Tina Belster. And we're upside down, so why don't we try it the right way?
And this is fabric from, I believe,
The East Aurora store.
East Aurora store.
Yep, this fabric. It's a panel, a border print.
Frightful Night is the line. Okay. Art License Studio Wilmington Prints. So it's a Wilmington line.
So it's
Isn't that
another
awesome?
it's another fabric. If you buy the fabric, you get the pattern for free.
Yeah.
So beautiful.
Great job.
This was very popular. I don't know how much is left of certain bolts,
Yeah.
but it's really popular.
That's awesome.
Great job. Okay, go ahead, grab another.
Okay, let's see who's next.
Barbara.
Oh no. It was a fumble. They can't hear me anyhow.
You have the lights on.
Okay,
Can you hear us?
good.
Yeah, there you go.
All right, good. Sorry.
Scott
Pulled the
pulled
cord
plug.
out. All right, so first, Barbarella Bate made this handmade cork bag.
There you go.
It's beautiful.
It-
I love the color cork too that she picked with the gray on the plum, or it might be egg. And then inside,
Oh,
she has a little liner. You know, give it a little extra on the bottom with it's attitude, I believe.
yes, it is.
Okay. Slide it. Nice little magnetic snap on the inside. Great job, Barb.
And it looks like a coach person. So
Yeah.
It looks so like professional. This is Patterns, Heart and More by Soon Allen. It was a class offered a few years back, but thanks to COVID, she finally got to finish it.
That's great. With petal, flower arrangement there. Oh yeah.
This is what
Oh, you
I
gotta
love.
turn that around.
Yeah,
Wow.
this is.
I think it shows up a little bit
You'll
more.
see it. Oh, there you go. Look at that. Beautiful.
Yeah. Good job,
Lighting
Barb.
goes in there. Right. Then we have Jill Fink. Hold on, don't want to grab any more cards. I'm going to read her note. It goes, thank you for the notes, the information. It's very helpful.
Yes, it is. It is.
This pillow, she did Gifts Galore, which is the first class to learn how to do pillows. So our Gifts Galore is, Pillows Galore, sorry, is how to beginners how to make pillows. So, beginner class. She used up her scraps and then did the back with buttons, and she learned how to pipe. So, great job on making that. Then, first turn around, way to use buttons. And then this is also scraps. That's just great.
Yeah.
Because we all have
Piping
scraps.
as well.
And it was her first time using the welting foot, thanks to the Learn to Foot class by Diane.
Oh, perfect. Yeah, so Diane's had a great series of over the past, 4 or 5 months.
Learn
of the
to love your
Learn
feet.
to love your feet. Going through a variety of feet. We're both, all brands.
Mhm.
And then there's the backing again with the envelope button. Nice job, Jill.
All right. Then we have Irene Root, who did the Zebra Finch class with Eileen. She used her AccuQuilt 8-inch cube, stitched, oh boy, point stitch? That doesn't make sense. Chain stitch on her ovation. I was like, what? Keep reading. Great job. Oh, here. See? She embellished it a little. Look at you using your different machines. Love it.
And
Sorry.
then we have, and this isn't what Irene submitted, but I do want to talk about this for a minute because I'm impressed. Irene stops into Williamsville on a periodic basis, right? She plays and has a lot of fun on Facebook Lives. And then if she buys something, well, there you go. There's her bag.
She brings her bag.
And I know exactly whose product goes in here. This is awesome. So, if you're, instead of messing around with the plastic back here just for temporary storage, has her own little bag ready to go.
Yeah, it's true. And it's very helpful. And I know everybody's got these bags. Like, you get a bag for everywhere you go.
Yep.
So just embroider your name on it and it's yours. All right.
I think
You know what we need, Scott? It's time. We get
This
to
is the fun
finally do
part.
it. It's been a year without. Uh-oh.
All right, I got to do the fun part.
I guess I get to pick. You know what we're doing this year? We're actually getting 2 names.
Yeah, we're gonna do 2.
But always have yeah.
I'm grabbing my phone.
If everybody could just mute yourselves, we have to figure that out again this year. Sorry. Okay, so just so we're not interrupted, it's our own mistake.
So these are the sample
This is
submitters, right?
from virtual and in person.
All right,
Yep.
so we're encouraging you to submit your sample, please.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, enough spinning. Grab one, and then we're gonna spin again, real quick. First winner is.
Where's the camera? Darlene Arrington.
All right,
Sorry, I
Darlene.
really should learn where the camera is.
Second winner is. So we got
All right.
a couple goodie bags here.
I have no idea what's in them.
We don't know what's in them, but we know there's some heavy good stuff in here. So, Darlene, Mary Eunice will have yours at Williamsville. And Darlene, you'll probably be Williamsville. If you like it otherwise, give a call when you get a chance.
All right. Now we're going to let Gudrun talk, and then we'll join them later, right, Scott?
That's right. We're going to pop back in, but let's let Gudrun.
Yeah,
Gudrun.
His coffee hasn't given
Tongue got twisted. Sorry.
control.
Yes. Hello, everybody.
Hello.
Good morning. Good morning from Minnesota. Thank you for being here with us and with me. I was last in person at a sewing club meeting back in 2017, and then twice before that. So I feel like I'm kind of there because I know what it involves to be a part of the whole sewing club and stuff, and the excitement and seeing everybody's beautiful faces and beautiful projects. But I wanted to talk about, since I've been there a few times, many of you probably heard my spiel. So I wanted to basically focus on what I've been doing since. And of course, in the past, I've talked about my Stripology rulers, both the original Stripology, the Stripology Squared, and then the Stripology Mini. But since I came last, I have a new one that has replaced the original ruler, which is called the Stripology XL. And so this Stripology XL ruler is, of course, your basic tools for all your cutting needs. If you're not familiar with the Stripology rulers, I'm not going to go heavy deep into all of them, but I wanted to just kick it off by sharing a video on how all the features of the XL ruler. So it's really quickly going through it, but it really shows you all the things you can do with it. And then we're going to take it even further and show you some of the bonus features that I've made videos and sew-alongs about all kinds of extra techniques. So let's start off by watching the Stripology XL demo video. Hi, I'm Gudrun from GE Designs, and I'm very excited to introduce you to my fourth ruler with creative grids in the Stripology family of rulers, the Stripology XL. In essence, the Stripology XL combines the functions of the two best-selling rulers, the original Stripology ruler and the Stripology Squared. Along with that, it has extra features that make it easier to cut diamonds, triangles, and parallelograms from strips. The Stripology XL has all the basic features and brilliance for cutting yardage into strips, squares, and rectangles as the original Stripology ruler. The slits are 1/2 inch apart, with the exclusive Creative Grids grip in between every slit, covering almost the whole back side of the ruler, which securely holds the ruler in place while cutting and prevents your fabric from moving as you cut. It has the shortcuts for cutting 1.5 and 2.5 inch strips, marked with the black squares and stars on the bottom of the slits. It also has directions to cut in 1/4 inch increments using the 1/4 inch line just to the left of the 0 slit. The larger size, with its longer slits, makes it easier to cut your fabrics right off the bolt and to stack up multiple fabrics to cut at the same time. The Stripology XL has specific lines on it to square up and fussy cut blocks of any size up to 12.5 inches square, just like the Stripology Squared ruler. The black squares going outwards from the bottom left corner are for trimming blocks at whole inch sizes, like 6 inch, 8 inch, 10 inch, and so on. For trimming 1/2 inch sizes, the ruler has a special feature where you turn it 180 degrees and use the white squares starting in the center of the ruler and extending outwards. Each square has vertical and horizontal solid lines, as well as diagonal dotted lines going through the center of it, which you can use to line up with the seams of your blocks. Here is an example of me trimming a 12.5-inch block. Use the Stripology XL ruler to cut diamonds and parallelograms from strips quickly and accurately. You can cut 45-degree or 60-degree angles by using the according diagonal lines on the ruler. If your strip extends the length of the ruler, just move the ruler upwards and align the top of the strip with a line and the vertical slit line with the first cut, and then finish your cutting. The extended length of the ruler gives you more features using the 60-degree angle. You can fully cut your strip into diamonds, and then the added lines going from the top down to the right allow you to cut your diamonds into triangles, making the ruler adjustable to any patterns that use those units. When diagonally cutting apart squares into triangles, use the diagonal lines extending from the 0 slit and the 20-inch slit upwards to the outside of the ruler edges, black lines on the left and white on the right. Lay your stack of squares on point on your cutting mat, align the diagonal lines with the bottom edges of the square, and make a cut through the 0 or the 20-inch slit. I find it more comfortable to use the 0 side for left-handed and the 20-inch slit for right-handed people. Dotted lines are a 1/4 inch and 1/2 inch from the outside edge of the ruler on both sides and the top. This feature is great for trimming quilts after quilting when needing to trim a 1/4 or 1/2 inch from a point. The Stripology XL ruler will become your basic ruler for cutting yardage for any pattern. It works perfectly for all the best-selling books and patterns in the Stripology series by GE Designs, where either the original Stripology ruler or the Stripology squared ruler are used. Make sure to check out the new series of patterns called the Stripology Mixers, where combinations of different pre-cuts are used for each of the quilts. So these are all the bonus features, or I should say the extra features that the XL ruler has versus the original Stripology ruler. So it's kind of what I did is combined the original ruler with the squared ruler, so it's the same height but also wider, and then adding all of these lines because of the added length and height of the ruler. So I obviously use my ruler for everything. If you're a true stripologist, this is what happens. You start using it for any kind of pattern, not just my patterns. You cut all of your fabric for whatever you're doing with the rulers. And so especially if you have a combination of the XL with the mini ruler, those two will pretty much take you wherever you need to go. So on my website, I have a lot of bonus material for using the ruler. So first off, all of the videos on using all the rulers, and then there is a link on my website. It's called Bonus Charts and Templates, and on that one you will find all kinds of bonus charts to help you do all those things with the ruler. So if we can check this out on the overhead camera, we have a chart that's showing you how to cut 1/4 inch increments with the XL or the squared ruler. We have that one here. Then we have also a chart that shows you how to cut 1/8 inch increments with the mini. So either 1/8 inch increments or 1/4 inch increments with the mini ruler. These are all free. You go to bonus charts and templates on my website and just print them out. Then we have kind of a triangle cheat sheet. I like to do my half square triangles and quarter square triangles, just skimming off of the process by not having to draw any lines and being able to square up my units perfectly to put them into my quilt. So this is a cheat sheet for how to adjust the sizes. So I'm never cutting an 1/8 inch unit. You know, when you're told to cut a 3 7/8 to make half square triangles, never have to do that. I would just go up to the next size. And then we have a chart cutting 60-degree triangles and 30-degree triangles and also 45-degree right triangles. So in this next video, I'm going to show you, this is kind of a bonus add-on to the Excel ruler. So I wanted to just show you this next video because it specifically shows you how to do this, which takes your ruler to a whole nother level. So now you're talking about any patterns that use 60-degree triangles or 45-degree right triangles. You can use your ruler to cut all of those. So let me show you the video first and then I'll go into more detail. Hi, my name is Gudrun from GE Designs, and I'm the designer of the Stribology Rulers by Creative Grids. In this video, I'd like to show you how you can adapt your patterns and use the Stribology XL to cut all your 60-degree triangles and 45-degree right triangles. I love to use 60-degree triangles in my patterns, and for example, in my strip burst pattern, I used both 60-degree triangles and also 30-degree right triangles, which are basically 60-degree triangles cut in half. Now back when I wrote the pattern, of course, I cut my strips using the Stribology rulers, but I had to use a triangle ruler to subcut my strips into triangles. Doing that, you would have to align your line on the ruler with the bottom of the strip, make your cuts, and then of course every single cut you would have to move the ruler and turn it, which can take time and also can sometimes not be as accurate as using the Stribology rulers. So I have created this handy printable, how we can adapt our patterns to using the XL ruler. When a pattern calls for a 2.5 inch strips, for example, that gets cut into triangles using the Creative Grids 60-degree triangle ruler, you have a flat tip on one side. Now, if using the Stribology rulers, you won't have that flat tip, so we would always have to cut our strips a 1/4 inch wider than the pattern if you were to use the Stribology XL ruler. So let me show you. This particular one was cut at 2 3/4. So when cutting with a Stribology ruler, I want to use a 3-inch strip. So I take my 3-inch strip, I lay it diagonally on my cutting mat, and then I bring the ruler over and align the 60-degree line on the ruler at the bottom of the strip. And then, because this is a 3-inch wide strip, I want to make my cuts starting with a 0 and then at 3-inch increments. Same width as the strip. So as I cut and finish my whole strip, I want to remove that first unit here that I trimmed off, and then we're going to turn the ruler, just lift it up so slightly and turn it, and use the diagonal line that goes from the top left and down to align with the top of the strip. It also has a line coming down this way, which you will align with that first triangle, and that way everything is aligned as it should be. So now we're just going to make the same cuts we did before, 0 and then 3-inch increments. And so we started by cutting diamonds, and now we're cutting those diamonds in half into triangles. So now we have our 60-degree triangles, and the way we can make these work for us and the same size as the ones before is by using the G-Easy point trimmers. The point trimmers come in a 3-pack, so one of those trimmers is a 60-degree trimmer that you can use to then trim all your points off so that everything will fit together and your piecing will be much more accurate than when we have to just guess how much that dog ear needs to stick out. And once you have these all trimmed, you will notice that they are the same size as the ones that you cut with the triangle ruler, just starting with a 1/4 inch wider strip. In the printable, I also talk about 30-degree right triangles, which are basically 60-degree triangles cut in half. So we would cut our strips according to our pattern, and when we're using that for 30-degree right triangles, we want to make sure to cut our strips 1/2 inch wider than a pattern using the 60-degree triangle ruler. So then we would just take these triangles and cut them in half, making sure we have a line on the bottom here, and then just cutting it right through that tip. And then our handy trimmers will trim that point off to make them fit. So you have a line just to the right of that center that you're going to line with the edge, the straight edge of the triangle, and then you're going to just slide it down until the diagonal side is even with the edge of the triangle that way. And then we trim our triangles off, and this will fit perfectly. The other side you can just cut by flipping it over and do the same thing, bring it down and trim. Many patterns call for 1/4 square triangles. That is when you're first asked to cut squares and then cut those squares into 4ths diagonally. For example, here I have a square, and your pattern would tell you to cut a certain size square, a 5-inch square in this case, and then you would have to cut both of them, cut them twice diagonally so that each square will make 4 triangles. Now you can easily transfer this to using the Stripology XL. And we want to notice that this edge is a straighter grain, so these two are biased, and you can still do that with the ruler. So I have on my chart here come up with some basic sizes, some of the most common sizes that can be adjusted and adapted to the Stripology ruler to cut your right triangles. So what you want to do, I'm going to be cutting, so that was a 5-inch square, so I'm going to adapt that, so my strip size will be 2.5. So I want to take my strip and lay it diagonally on my cutting mat. Now I'll be using the 45-degree line on the ruler, so it's a bit sharper edge. And I'm just aligning that line with the bottom of the strip. And then I'm going to go by the first cuts here in my chart. So they are going to be at the 0, 3.5, 7, and 10.5, and possibly 14. So we'll start at 0, 3.5, and 7, and we'll do 10.5, and that doesn't reach all the way. So here I'm going to slide my ruler upwards, remove that first triangle, and slide my ruler up. So now I'm aligning that diagonal line with the top of the strip and sliding this over so that this extended line down here is even with my first cut. So now I know everything is going to be straight, and I can just continue. So finish that cut in the 10.5, and then I can cut my 14, but there's not enough room there. So now I'm going to turn my ruler and use the diagonal line, 45-degree diagonal line, going from the top left down, and align that now with the top of my strip. And you can see that you have a straight line coming here that you align with that first triangle. And now I'm going to do my same cuts that I did before. So cut through the 0, and then 3.5, 7, and then 10.5 is not far enough down, so I do the same thing. I remove the first triangle, slide the ruler down so that diagonal line is now aligned with the bottom, and then finish with my 10.5-inch cut. And now I have my right triangles, and as you will see, they are the exact same size as the ones that I did by cutting squares. Now you will notice that I don't have every single size here, and that is because some sizes will not work with a ruler because of the increments being too small and too odd. But these are very common sizes, so I hope you can take some of those patterns and adapt them to using the XL ruler. Now the G-Easy Point Trimmer Pack also has a 45-degree trimmer. And let me show you how that one works. So if you have 45-degree right triangles and you are doing a pattern that needs to put them together this way, for example, this trimmer will just make it so much easier by trimming those points off here so you can know exactly where to position them when you piece them together. So you will just place this on the corner, trim both corners off. We'll do the same with the white one so you can easily see how great it is to assemble these without any hassle. So they will fit together if you were to sew them together like this. You lay them on top of each other and you'll see that these edges will be even and that 1/4-inch seam will just be perfect edge to edge. So I hope this will inspire you to experiment with adapting some of your patterns to using the Stripology XL ruler. Thanks for watching. So as you can see, the ruler goes way beyond just cutting strips. I think a lot of folks that see it for the first time think that that's all it does, but it really can do anything. And included in that video, I refer to the Stripology chart for the 60-degree triangles and the 45. I'm going to just show you what that looks like. Again, you can just download it from our website. So here, this is what that looks like. I have one more chart that was not featured in there that you can do with your ruler, and that is cutting half hexagons. And all the instructions how to do that are here. You will also find just a basic stripologizing chart on there, and I wanted to talk about that a little bit. But before I do that, if you wanted to see what the point trimmers look like that I used in that video, they look like this. And then of course, my ruler stickers that I use every time I am quilting and cutting and squaring up with the rulers. We have them in 2 different colorways, so this is what they look like. But the stripologizing chart, what this one does is if you're working on a pattern that does not state for how many strips to cut for a project. You know, some people write their patterns differently, but I like to tell you how many strips you cut, and then you go ahead and subcut it into the units that you need. So here are the number of units you can get from each with the fabric strip. We have the 1/2-inch increments, and then we have the 1/4-inch increments. So if you have a pattern that just tells you to cut 24 3.5-inch squares, you can just go ahead right here. You can get 11 from each strip, so you now know that you can start with cutting 3 strips. So this is very helpful. Down here, you will find information on my concept of how I stripologize my stash. I like to store most of my stash or leftovers. I cut them up into units, into the basic pre-cuts of 5-inch squares, 10-inch squares, 2.5 and 1.5-inch strips. So, and because you've probably experienced this before when you purchase a pre-cut. I love using pre-cuts. I love the variety of fabrics. But the one thing I have never loved is the fact that you buy a pack of 10-inch squares and they're usually not 10 inches. They're either a little bit bigger or they're smaller on one side or they're not square. So that has always been really bothersome and really annoying when you're needing the full 10 inches to start with a pattern. So I have always resorted to just cutting my own. So I make my own pre-cuts from either fat quarters or half yards in particular. So I have a little image here that shows you how mostly I cut up my half yards. Do you have that to put on the screen right there? So to cut your own fat quarters from a half yard, for example, I cut my 10-inch strip, and then I cut two 2.5-inch strips, and I can get two 1.5-inch strips. Sometimes two, always one. So from the 10-inch strip, I can cut my squares, or I can cut them into 5-inch squares as well. And so 21 half yards will give me 2 layer cakes, 2 full layer cakes, 1 full jelly roll, and then 42 or more 1.5-inch strips. And this is whenever I have leftovers from a project, I start chopping it up into these units, and I store my units in bins, already cut, ready to go for my projects. Because this is how I kind of write my patterns. I love to use these pre-cuts. I love to use those sizes, and I've been asked before why I only do those sizes and not different size strips or different size squares. It's because these are so interchangeable. A 5-inch squares, 2 of them, of course, equal. You can cut 2 of them or 4 of them from a 10-inch square, so they're all interchangeable. You have a 2.5-inch strip and a 1.5-inch strip. If you sew 2 1.5-inch strips together, it equals a 2.5-inch strip, so they always are interchangeable. Obviously, 2.5 work with the 5 and the 10. So those are the units that I choose to work with. They're also just a part of the basic pre-cuts that are out there. So of course I use those sometimes too. But I wanted to show you some different scenarios that is on the bottom of that sheet that I just showed you, what you can cut from a half yard. So the image that I showed you on the screen, if we can see this in the overhead quickly, image that I showed you on the screen was that top scenario with a 10-inch squares, 2.5-inch strips, and 1.5. You can also, if you just need 10 and 2.5-inch strips, you got that scenario here. Here we have 10-inch squares, 5-inch squares, and 2.5-inch strips, and then 5-inch squares, 2.5-inch strips, and 1.5-inch strips. And this will tell you how much is you can get from 1 half yard, and then how much you could get from a 10-piece, 12-piece bundle or a 12-piece half yard, which is 6 yards. So it's a helpful chart, free on the website. Just go ahead and download it from the bonus charts and templates. But speaking of the units that I was talking about, so I love to work with these units. I love to cut them from different fabrics that I have or leftovers, and then I love to use them in quilts. So I have 2 books since I came last to Aurora. 2 big books have come out where I kind of use all of those 4 different sets of pre-cuts, and sometimes I use more than one in one pattern. And I also have numerous single patterns that use those pre-cuts, and then I have a set of patterns that I call the Stripology mixers that use maybe 2 or 3 different types of those pre-cuts together. Or you can always cut it from fact orders. It's always an option to cut it from fact orders. So I thought I would just go through the books with you and just give you some inspiration on what you could do with your stripologized stash. So I'm going to start with the original Stripology Mixology book, which is sitting right there. The Stripology Mixology is on the far right. And so I have images to put up on the screen, and then I have a few quilts we can show you up close. But we're going to start with our 10-inch square patterns from the Mixology book. I'm not going to show you all the quilts in the book, but my favorites. So here are some of the favorites. So we'll start with Coral. Coral is done with 10-inch squares and then just a background. So the lap size, all of my pattern set books, I offer multiple sizes for each of the patterns. So you can do anything from crib size up to king size most times. So this is the lap size, which uses 42 squares and a little bit of background. So very popular, very simple. We'll go right on into Marina. Marina is done with 10-inch squares, and then you need accent fabrics. I used a navy and then a white, so a white accent fabric for my block 1s, and then a navy accent fabrics for my block 2. And very popular, very quick and fun to make, striking, great to use for novelty fabrics to really show off the fabrics if you don't want to cut them up too much. Then we're gonna put up Stella, and Stella is one of the quickest quilts you can make. It is very successful just using lights and darks fabric, so 10-inch squares, using the ruler, and because you square everything up in the end, all the blocks come together, you never lose your points, and so it's very quick, but always successful. So I have my Stella here. This one has been well worn and well used. Quilted just with a little bit of wintry feel because the fabrics are that. But you can see here is the block. So we just add a light corner to a dark one and vice versa, because I also have a philosophy of not wasting anything. So you actually use all of your fabric. You're not just cutting a corner off and throwing it away. So this is Stella. Let's check out some of the 2.5-inch strip patterns with Camilla coming up first. So Camilla is, like I said, done with 2.5-inch strips. I kind of grouped them together by color, and so you can see how they're still scrappy, but really, really cool. So I love the mix of fabrics, but I kind of color blocked it using scrappiness. And then there's a few different layout options for this quilt. So the block is a large block, goes together pretty quickly and easy. Not really many seams to match at all. This one is a favorite. I've taught this one quite a bit. Then we have Frequency. Now this one looks tricky, but it's much easier than it looks. It's just done using the 60-degree lines on the ruler where you cut them, your strip sets on the angle, and then you add them all together and you create this little zigzaggy feel. It's put together in rows. So I really love this one. It's fun to make, but it also, the best part is it looks a lot harder than it really is. So the next one up is Rocky Road, another 2.5-inch strip pattern. And this one I really wanted it scrappy, so you can do all the lights in the same color. I decided to use some scrappy, and then I kind of limited my colors for the scrappy strips and the blocks to just the turquoise and the chartreuse green, and then set it all off with a nice background of the gray. We have next one I'm going to show you. This is an example of a 5-inch square quilt. It's called Charm Shuffle. A very fun one, great to use charm packs or just your 5-inch square scraps. You can have it as scrappy as you want it. You just want those squares to stand out, so it's actually better if they are very colorful and it can stand out from each other. And then we have an example of a 1.5-inch strip pattern. This is Strippy Forest. We did a couple of versions for the book. This one has been very, very popular. You can make it Christmassy or you can make it year-round. They're just trees. Do we have another photo of the Strippy Forest? I thought I may have put 2 in there, but maybe not. But anyway, so I wanted to also show you, so a lot of the techniques that I use for quilts that may look hard, but they really aren't. I love using my rulers for intricate techniques to work smarter, not harder. The Strippy Forest. The patterns are you asking questions? So all of these that I just showed you are in the Stripology Mixology book. So that is this one right here with a gray cover. So the Rocky Road is right on the cover. And there's more quilts in there than I just showed you. But I wanted to show you an example of some of my techniques where we piece some things, we cut them up, and we sew them back together to create different types of patterns, because I use that throughout the books, throughout my single patterns. So I have a little short video of demonstrating how the Nova pattern comes together. So let's look at that real quick. It's a really quick, sped up video. So if you want to look at the overhead here, I have the quilt laid out. So you can see the blocks right here. But as they come together, 4 of them, they will create that star in the corner. And you did all of that without ever sewing a single triangle. You're always working with squares and squares and strips and rectangles. Then just cutting them up, sewing them back together. And because we square everything up in the end, when putting all the blocks together, it is such a breeze. So I use a lot of those types of techniques in my patterns. So even if a pattern of mine looks difficult, it really isn't. So let's look at some more quilts from my newer mixology book. So this is from the Stripology Mixology 2. And again, we're going to start with a 10-inch square quilt and start with JoJo, one of the favorites out of the book. So JoJo is great to use because there's a lot of space for to show off your fabrics. So novelty prints, any large scale prints, this would be beautiful. And then you want some contrast for those little squares. I used these are all a mix of from my collection, or my stash, my collection, I prefer to call it collection. So I just started with my Paris fabrics, and then I pulled the colors from there, from my basics, from my 10-inch squares that I've cut from scraps, and then put it together that way. So this is JoJo. One of the simplest quilts to make out of the book. I also, in this book, gave you a little rating on difficulty. So this is one of the easiest quilts in the book. And then we have Sammy. Sammy is a great one, easy one to do using 10-inch squares. And then you can use either one single accent fabric for that pink part. I actually decided to use some 1.5-inch strips that I had already cut, and I just had them all from the same color family, but they're all scrappy. So I love that look. I love a scrappy look. I've done this quilt so many times now and in different colorways, and it's always successful. It's another one that's really great to use with novelty fabrics, even directional fabrics, because you can really control the way they turn. The next one up looks quite a bit harder than other quilts. So remember the Nova quilt. So this is Athena. She is just a step up from Nova, but still so much easier to make. This will probably be reminiscent to you of a Hunter Star, but we have a little extra to this one. So a Hunter Star would be here, but we have that little added triangles here, of a dark triangle here and a light triangle here, which makes it sparkle even more. But I tell you what, if you have ever made a Hunter Star and want to make this one is going to be probably 10 times easier to make, especially if you have the rulers with just chopping up and cutting up. So this one you can make with 10-inch squares, or you can make it with a collection of combination of 5-inch squares and 2.5-inch strips. I used a single background with it just so that everything would shine, and just a variety of blues. But this quilt has been made so many times. If you follow my Facebook group, there are numerous versions of Athena, and I'm working on a very colorful one right now. Just love this pattern. All right, we have two more of the 10-inch square quilts from the Mixology 2 book. This is Octavia, another one that looks hard, but it's really simple because we just start with 10-inch squares. We make really large half-square triangles, and then we chop the triangles up into the units that you need. So you're not making a whole bunch of little half-square triangles. You just make a large one, and then you chop it up, and it'll be all the pieces you need for the block. The next one up is Trixie. Trixie is made with a combination of 10-inch squares and 2.5-inch strips. So for all the light part in the quilt, I use 10.5-inch strips, or 2.5-inch strips, sorry. Just scrappy, low volume, 2.5-inch strips. And then the big part is your 10-inch squares. And then you just need one accent fabric. You can make that scrappy too. I had it continuous throughout. And there's a few different layouts you can do with this pattern. I think I gave quite a few options, and you can play with it as well. I just love this pinwheel action with a kind of square hidden underneath. Much easier than you think this one is to make. All right, we're going to move on into some of our 2.5-inch strips, quilts from the Mixology Daisies is done. Actually, this one is done with 1.5-inch strips, but that was my mistake. But it's done with 1.5-inch strips. Really cute. You can make it as big as you want, of course, because we offer multiple sizes. This is just the crib size, and you can vary the border, do a piece border, you do a scrappy border, or a single border. And then we have Milky Way. This is a 2.5-inch strip pattern using, I just toned it down to just reds and blues for my strips, and then you just need one accent fabric, which I used white, since this quilt just reads traditional and patriotic. I thought that was perfect. There are instructions to make it a little bit larger to fit the size needed for Quilts Valor, so if you are interested in any of that, I did include that to make it a little bit larger, adding a little border to it. Then we have a Honey. This one is done with all kinds of 2.5-inch strips, and then you need one focus fabric, which I did the dark charcoal, used also in the border, and I used all kinds of honey fabrics for my piece parts, the scrappy part. Next one is called Jackie. This one is a heavy background kind of quilt, and then you can use one strip for each block. So this one can be as scrappy as you want it to be. Really love the look of it. It kind of reminds you of that game Jacks as you played as a kid. So that one is fun. And then we have one more, actually two more. Angler's Choice is a 2.5-inch strip pattern, and just love the colors on this one, especially with the photo op. It was just a perfect match, and so easy to do. Little simple technique of partial seams will make that happen, and then just need a perfect background to make all the strips stand out, be as scrappy as you want them to be. Then we're going to move on to Wanda. Wanda is made with 5-inch squares. So we have a few quilts in there made with 5-inch squares. Wanda is one. This is the one on the cover. Really cool. You make these kind of lopsided blocks or wonky blocks. Actually, there's no waste. A lot of folks think that you're making 9 patches and then you just trim off the edges to make them crooked. But that's not the case. We actually cut them a certain way and piece them so that there is no waste, and then they get squared up in the end. So it's a really cool technique. Did a sew along for this quilt back in January, I believe, and there's lots of Wanda Wanda versions out there. Then we have Field of Flowers. Field of Flowers is a mixer pattern, so this one uses 5-inch squares and then 2.5-inch strips for the stems of the flowers. So this one is really fun to do using the 60-degree feature on the XL ruler, or of course in all of my books and patterns I also give you instructions for using regular rulers, but I really love how this one turned out, just one background. And then up last from the book is a 1.5-inch strip quilt called Harmony 2. So I have a single pattern that uses 2.5-inch strips that we did for a quilt along last year, and this one is just done with 1.5-inch strips, so the blocks are smaller, really cute, and yes, so that is all the quilts from the Mixology 2 book. So like I said, a lot of my single patterns have the same concepts: 10-inch squares, 2.5-inch strips, Stripology mixers, and then also fat quarter patterns. So the newest pattern out there is called Astrid. So the Astrid is one of those that you look at it and it's like, whoa, this looks too hard. It's actually hanging in the corner here, but here's the pattern cover. So this is made with 2.5-inch strips, and then you need a focus fabric, which is your border as well, and then your background, which is the white in the main quilt. It's black in the tulip pink quilt hanging behind me. So I wanted to show you the other versions we've done. We have the tulip pink one right there, using Lineworks and some of her color basics. And then here's one more, twin size. I this year. We did a virtual retreat, so we have a lot of astrids out there. But you know, folks look at it and say this is way too many angles, and this is going to be very hard to do. But so we did kind of sped up a part of the video. I do have a video class on it you can purchase on my website, but we took bits of it just to show you how actually simpler it is to make than what it looks. So let me just show you this piece where I am just using the ruler to cut my blocks up, and I'm also using my stickers. So when you're doing multiple blocks, you don't have to line things up again. You can use those stickers. I just decided to use 2 different colors for the 2 sides, and then we make the cut. So using, of course, the point trimmers to trim up our corners to make everything fit, and then it gets sewn in. This is just to show you, if you're not using the Stripology rulers, how to cut it. You would have to measure it, and then we are going to add those little background pieces to the sides of the middle piece, to each side. And then I wish I could sew this fast. That'd be awesome. Be very handy sometimes. So there's that middle piece. You do trim it up just a little bit to make it easier to fit the sides, and we trimmed off the corners of the sides, so now they would fit very easily on each side. And this is a way, if you wanted to make it scrappy, you can sew it together back as it was, or if you want to make it scrappy, you can mix up the pieces and press one at a time, add the other one. And these are your blocks. So you would actually finish it off by squaring up the blocks to make them perfect. And so that's how much easier it is to make astrid than what it looks, really, truly. And that is true about, I think, all of my patterns. So you've seen me where I do a lot with the XL ruler, but I love my little mini ruler too. So I have versions of many of the 10-inch square patterns from my books and patterns, using smaller, so using 5-inch squares, and I call them my little patterns. So the newest little patterns we have, I think 8 or more, maybe more, 10, 11 little patterns out. And so these last ones like just came out this year are called Little Jojo. You saw the big Jojo quilt. There's Little Jojo. So I have one of those runners here. So this one uses 5-inch squares and of course the mini ruler to do all of your cutting and squaring up in the end. And then we have little Helena. I don't have that quilt with me. It's hanging at the warehouse. So this is little Helena, just made with 5-inch squares in the background. Really cute and so much easier to make than what it looks. And then last one is Little Trixie. Little Trixie, you saw the big Trixie. So that one has a couple of different layouts. Really cute to use a single fabric for your accents. And of course, because you square everything up, you get these perfect blocks. So when you put them together, it's really makes it easy. So this is Little Trixie, and using just Trump squares. So many of you also, I noticed a little bit in when you were showing your projects, maybe you're familiar with my Quilt As You Go projects. So the Quilt As You Go projects are always something that I love to do kind of on the side, not on the side. I kind of switch back and forth. And we have just started our 3rd season of Fast and Furious Club, which is our club of Quilt As You Go projects every month. But my newest Quilt As You Go project or pattern just came out this year. It is a rewrite. Oh, there's Fast and Furious Club. But the pattern is a rewrite from a book that's been out of print for a while. It's called Grab and Go Tote. It's a favorite. So let's put up the pattern cover for that so you can see what that looks like. And that one is, like I said, very popular. I use it all the time, lugging stuff around quilts and stuff for my live shows. So I still do Quilt As You Go. Those of you that are wondering, all the time on the side. It's so great to do something Quilt As You Go in between the big quilts. But then I wanted to mention as well, I have a series of, I talked about the little patterns. I have started a series of supersized patterns. So those are done with fat quarters. Very simple, easy patterns to make. They work great with flannel because they're bigger pieces and usually just rectangles and squares. I have two right now. We have the supersized Nina, and so yeah, I have a Nina pattern that's done with smaller, much smaller blocks. What's cohesive about these supersized patterns is that I really try to utilize the fabric to the fullest, so there's not much waste after you cut your fat quarters. And then the other one is supersized steamy windows. I did this one. This one is new this year, so large pieces, great for novelty, and again, you utilize the full fat quarter. So those are brand new. Before I go any further, I have a few more things to share with you, but I think Alyssa and Scott wanna share something with you in between, and then I'll meet you back and show you some of what is coming up.
Here are the specials for today. All of the Gudrun patterns, buy one, get one 15% off. Buy two, 20% off. Buy three or more, you get 25% off.
And that's, you got to remember.
Yeah, oh, that's right.
Okay, two things we forgot to say. Just as a reminder for those that were in club last year.
We're doing a little different.
We're doing it different. We're doing come into the store to place your order or pick up your product or call in your order and we'll call you pick up your order. Pick it up.
Mm-hmm. We're not doing purchasing online.
There's nothing online. We're just trying to keep our employees employed.
Yeah, yes.
And just funnel everything right to the counter. That way everything's organized and easy to manage. You can call either store.
Either store has product. We do have a small club table at both stores. So when you walk in, Williamsville, it's right at the counter right when you walk in, and in East Aurora, it's right in front of the counter there. So each store has their own club table, like we kind of used to, just a little small.
Right. So buy more, save more with the GE pattern.
Yes.
Okay.
Next we have.
All right, the books. Some great prices on the books, and you know, I know several of you have the books already, but there's some new ones.
There is.
Gudrun has just walked through and really loaded with great patterns and etc. So we can step into those pretty quickly.
And then if you haven't owned the Stripology ruler, and Gudrun did awesome videos on this and demo on her rulers, we have all three of the rulers in, the extra large, the squared, and the mini. So good prices on those. And then,
okay, and if you missed the fabric holiday sale, well, you still got time to play.
You can add to your collection, like Gudrun called it. It's not a stash, your collection.
Yep. So this is, we wanted to be clear on this, and I know we can, with any type of sale, we can put way too many words in. So here's the bottom line. If you want 30% off, all you need to do is buy 5 total yards, not off the same bolt. So you can get 10 half-yard cuts to get to your 5 total yards, and you're getting 30% off. So I think that's the easiest way to explain that. So it's a cumulative 5 total yards with minimum half-yard. So both stores.
Different fabric at both stores. Always keep that in mind. So you might want to go for a nice drive and check out both stores.
Yep.
Right. That was the last one.
That's the last one.
So
all right. So now we have to share it back to Gudrun.
Back to Gudrun.
That amazing deals at the stores, so check it out. I wanted to finish it off here with just a little info on what I got coming up. I have 2 patterns that are at the printer already, and they will be at Aurora probably by the end of the month. So I think you are able to reserve a copy of these patterns. One of them you may be familiar with. It is called June. It was our quilt along pattern for the month of June. And so this one is now going to be available in printed format. This is my cover quilt. I made quite a few. So there's multiple sizes, of course, and then multiple layouts for this quilt. You can use 10-inch squares and 2.5-inch strips for this, or you can cut it from fat quarters or half yards. So this is the cover. Let me show you some of my other versions. This is the lap size where I used black fabrics and white fabrics for my lights and darks, and then a background. So you need a background as well. So my background is teal in this quilt, or green. It looks green on this photo. And this is a different layout from the quilt that I show you on the cover. This is layout number 2. And then we have another version where I use just a light gray background with some really fun prints. This one is layout 1. And then also the lap size. And then I did one more that I absolutely love. This is layout number 5. And this is done with the abandoned fabrics from Tim Holtz. But instead of doing lights and darks from or from mixed fabrics, I did my darks with the abandoned. I did my lights as a single color, single fabric. And then my background is that dark bluish gray. So this is June, and then I have another brand new one that I just introduced actually last night. It's called Saga. This one is made with 10-inch squares, and again, both of these are single patterns. And here's that pattern cover. So I used a fabric line called Through the Woods for this one, but I have made different ones. It's a big quilt. I made a big one. This is the Queen King, so it's a 96 square. This is the full view of the quilt. You can kind of see the design of the quilt. I named it Saga because it reminds me of the shields of the Vikings, specifically the shield maidens, the female warriors. And so I made a second version out of some Christmas fabrics. You can see kind of how that design looks. It's a really fun quilt to make, easy, just using those techniques I've kind of showed you through the lecture. So really love that and excited to see how people have received that, and once we start seeing those Saga quilts turn up. So that is something to look forward to. I also started a mystery block of the month this last month in September called Christmas in Europe, which is all on my website. You get the block instructions with a video class on it every month. And so it's a 14-month program, so it's not too late to come and join us. I still do my twice weekly live shows. We have Tuesday nights, Tipsy Tuesday at 7 p.m. Each show has some content, some tips, using the rulers, all kinds of things we talk about. We sometimes do sew-alongs or small projects on them. And then I have a Friday fun show. We call it Happy Friday, 3 p.m. on Fridays, and these are Central Times on Fridays. And we kick off the weekend with a little cocktail and, of course, some tips and show and tell and fun stuff. So I hope you join us. We're live both on Facebook and YouTube. So whichever one you choose. If you're on Facebook, it is on our business page, just GE Quilt Designs. But then we also have a group called Gudrun's Quilt Crew, a closed group where people share photos of their projects, and we have lots of fun in there too. So come join us. I hope you have enjoyed my talk and learned a little something about maybe the rulers, if you have them or not. But I think we should take some questions. If you have any questions for me, if you want to pop them in either the chat, I don't know if you want to, you guys at the store, maybe forward some questions to me. Yeah, we should just make them, they are still hosts, so that's good. Maybe they are just running around already. But any of you guys on the Zoom have any questions? Pop that in the chat. Oh, Scott was wondering when when we could go on the next cruise. I don't have any cruises scheduled. They are, they've been slow to getting back on track, but it's looking up for possibly 2023. But, okay, here's a question. Can you use the Stripology XL to cut the large 60-degree triangles from border prints to use in the 60-degree table runners? Yes, you can. Of course, with wider strips, there's less and less room with a ruler. I don't know how big they are, but you can. You might just have to move the ruler more around because you can cut less at a time. All right, enjoyed the talk. Great to see you. Hope to see you in person in the future, of course. We all wish to see people at some point. Okay, great. Thank you, Jean. That's great. Well, if you don't have any questions for me, then we'll just have to say goodbye for now. I hope we will catch you maybe at one of our live shows. Come visit, say hi, and tell us that you were here. Where can we find a demo on folding fabric under the XL? So on our website, under videos, you will find the Stripology demo videos. There's a Stripology 101, part 1 through 6. I showed you part 5 and 6 today. Part 1 is where I talk about the folding. And I actually did a little bit talk about the folding doing a previous, I think, Tipsy Tuesday episode, maybe a week or two ago. It was either a Friday or a Tuesday episode. And you can go back and watch all of those as well on our YouTube channel. You can go back and watch previous episodes. So the dog ear trimming. So again, there's a whole video on the trimmers and how they work. So you can find that on the website. And so easy to take your time. You can fast forward or scroll back and forth, and it's all in slow motion, not slow motion, but real time and with audio, not so fast as I showed you sometimes. So thanks a lot, you guys, Alyssa and Scott. I don't know if you can hear me or not. I can't hear you.
Yeah, hear you.
You just can't hear us.
Good. So, are there any questions from over there?
No,
No,
Scott
I'm
really
just
wanted to
ready.
go on a cruise.
I'm ready for a vacation.
Yes.
It was my birthday yesterday. I thought Alyssa was going to have
Oh,
something
happy birthday.
already.
Yeah.
But I guess that
It's
didn't
not
work
great
out.
enough with you too much.
Well, hopefully we'll get back to semi-normal or the new normal here soon.
Right.
I remember the last time we connected was at one of the trade shows. We
Yes.
interrupted your dinner, had a quick drink, and
Well, hopefully
scheduled you to come out, and then
maybe see
all
each
that
other
stuff.
in April.
Yeah, I'm hoping.
Look forward to it.
Yes. All right, everybody. Thanks so much. We're gonna
Thank
stop
you.
here.
Thanks
Thanks,
again,
everybody.
Gudrun.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.